Charles Messier spent 20 years compiling 110 deep sky objects. I don't have that kind of time. So I found something that might just speed things up a little. Hello, and today I'm going to show you 5 objects that I've recently captured. Now these are just 5 objects as part of a much larger project that I started some time ago, which is to capture the whole of the Messier catalogue, all 110 objects. So there may only be 5 more here, but with each one I take, I get one step closer to completing my goal. And in one of these images, there's a galaxy doing something it shouldn't be. My name's Glenn, and you are watching Astrobloke. So hello everyone, and thank you for coming back to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome. So I started my project some time ago. I've been capturing the Messier catalogue and it's all been going quite well. Now I need to admit something. If you've been following the series, you'll realise that it can take some time to capture all of these targets, but I've now employed something which has made it so much easier and quicker. And that's this little thing. The DwarfLab Mini by DwarfLab. Absolutely fantastic. Great little tool. It makes the capturing of these targets so simple. I can even set up a sequence in the night where I can plot through the night where it moves from one target to the next. So I'm able to capture multiple targets in one evening, which really is a massive bonus. I'm really enjoying capturing the Messier catalogue, and I hope that you're enjoying the journey too. It's really nice to follow in the footsteps of an historic astronomer like Charles Messier. Anyway, apart from the challenges of equipment, and the DwarfLab has made life a little bit easier, the weather has been super challenging, but we have had some clear nights and I've managed to get some data. So let me share with you what I've managed to capture, and let's learn a little bit more about the night sky. So first up, I've got M34. This is an open cluster in Perseus. M34 is one of those clusters that feels a bit underrated. Sitting around 1,500 light years away, it's a loose gathering of young stars that haven't quite drifted apart yet. What's cool here is how uneven it looks, almost like a splash of stars rather than a neat cluster. It's about 200 million years old, so in cosmic terms it's still pretty young, but the next one is anything but subtle. Here we have M35, an open cluster in the constellation of Gemini. M35 is a proper show-off. Bright, rich and packed with stars. It's one of the best open clusters in the sky. But the real gem? Just next to it sits a much older, fainter cluster, NGC 2158. Almost like a ghostly twin from another era. M35 is around 2,800 light years away, but that neighbour is over 4 times further. And speaking of clusters you can see with your own eyes, this next one has been known for thousands of years. M44, the Beehive cluster, and it's been known since ancient times. Even the Greeks described it as a little cloud in the sky. At just 600 light years away, It's one of the closest open clusters to us, and it's absolutely packed with stars. Through a telescope, it really does look like a swarm of bees. But not all clusters are young and lively like this. The next one I have for you has survived almost the entire lifetime of our Sun. And that is M67, an ancient open cluster. It's something special, one of the oldest open clusters we know. At around 4 billion years old, most clusters don't survive that long before drifting apart, but this one has held together remarkably well. It's often studied because its stars are similar in age to our Sun, almost like a glimpse into our solar system's past. And now we're leaving our galaxy entirely for the next one. M86, elliptical galaxy in Virgo. M86 is a completely different beast. A massive elliptical galaxy in the Virgo cluster, about 52 million light years away. What makes it unusual is that it's actually moving towards us rather than away, due to the complex gravitational dance in the cluster. It's also interacting with nearby galaxies, leaving behind trails of gas as it moves. And that is the end of my next step to completing the Messier catalogue. I'm finding it fascinating to learn about all of the different parts of Messier catalogue. I know some of these are not show-stopping images, but there's history and information about every single one of them. And the part I'm enjoying is learning about them, and I hope you are too. If you like this kind of content, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel, as it all helps to support me and push the video out to a wider audience. Let me know in the comments of what you thought of the images and what you'd like me to image next. I've still got quite a few to go, so I'm sure there's one or two that you'll mention that I can add to the list. Maybe if you've got a smart telescope, you could consider taking on the Messier catalogue too. Let me know your thoughts. But until next time, I'd like to wish you all clear skies, and I'll see you under the stars.